Hello, welcome to Off the Shelf Reviews. It's Gaming Friday. I'm Gary.
And I'm Geoff.
And today, Geoff is going to be taking me through a game called Strange Brigade, which came out on the 28th of August 2018, developed and published by Rebellion Developments. It's a third-person shooter. It was released on the PS4, the Xbox One, and on PC. So, Geoff, tell me more. What is Strange Brigade?
Well, it is a zombie shooter.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
it's pretty much about all it is, but it's a zombie shooter with some charm. Quite nice gunplay, quite a nice feel. Tongue-in-cheek, bit silly.
So I believe it's set in the 1930s and is an arena zombie shooter.
Yeah, there's quite a lot of there's quite a bit of focus on horde mode and general just kind of running around arenas, but there's also a good campaign mode as well, in which you can do various kinds of challenges. They're all very much first-person shooter style challenges. Find things, shoot them, and shoot bigger things, and
get bigger guns to shoot bigger things.
Shoot 3 of those bigger things, and make sure you shoot them in this point on only, and then shoot them more.
So, why this game to do those things? Because if you break any game down, it does fall into game mechanics. That's what you do in games.
Yeah, that's
But why do it in this one?
Well, it's got quite a bit of charm to itself, to be honest. Like, it's got, all the characters have different abilities. It's a 4-player co-op, which is rare enough to get a decent, entertaining 4-player co-op.
Right.
It's got a bit of a mix of puzzling alongside the shooting. So as you can see, the graphics are pretty sweet. They're nice and crisp and clean.
Yeah, I was going to say, why don't we start with the graphics? How are the graphics?
They're really nice.
It looks very pretty right now. This opening level, you're out, it's the middle of the day, so there's lots of shadows, lots of foliage.
Yeah.
You can see quite nicely off into the horizon. There's some quite nice vistas in this game.
Absolutely, yeah. It's well programmed. It's a DirectX 12 or a Vulkan game.
I don't know the difference.
The difference is, it's basically new APIs, so it's a really new game.
Would a console gamer like myself know the difference?
Consoles have their own API. What you would know as a console gamer is that these APIs are closer to what a console would be like. So it means you're getting a lot more performance out of your hardware that you do have. So this game runs really smoothly.
Very good.
And it's generally, if you have a new sort of programming interface, things can be quite buggy because programmers are getting used to it. But this is very well done. It's very clean, very efficiently programmed. Well, the textures are really crisp and nice. They're very high quality.
Looks very
for
clean.
PC. Yeah. The models are perhaps a little basic. I would say the art style is perhaps going to be to your taste.
Is it? Do you think it's more of the style choice though that they've gone for?
They've gone for stylistics, definitely.
Because they've not exactly gone for photorealism on anything, have they?
No, that's right.
It has its own distinct kind of look to it.
Yeah, it's very much like...
The first time I saw a still image of this game, I went, is that the new Time Splitters?
It wouldn't be far off that kind of art style.
Right.
There's a slightly cartoony art style to it.
I believe the game also has a wacky narrator who comments on gameplay activity.
Yeah, the guy that narrates it is really funny. He kind of makes it, to be honest. He certainly sets the comedic tone of things.
There's been quite a few games of late that I've come across where it's, you keep playing because you want to hear the narrator talk. They keep explaining what you're doing or just interact with you, and the humour that comes through in the writing is very good.
It is very fourth wall-ish.
Yeah.
Fourth wall breaking.
Self-aware meta,
very self-aware.
And you mentioned how well this game was put together, and I'm just going to bring up a little bit of the history of Rebellion Developments, as we know them as a game studio, because they're a pretty big deal now.
Yeah.
And they're Oxford-based, and they were established back in 1992 when they were commissioned for Atari
Yeah.
to work on the Alien vs Predator game, which of course a lot of us know and love.
Yeah.
Back
The good one.
Well, I mean that was back in 1992. You know, they released one of my favorite Alien vs Predator games in 2010.
Yeah.
But back in 2004, not many people are aware of this, but Rebellion brought 2000 AD Comics, which of course is the Judge Dredd license.
Yeah, cool.
Rebellion did release a few Judge Dredd games, but since then they also purchased Core Design from Eidos Interactive, and of course Core Design, they made the first Tomb Raider game.
Yeah.
But now they're all in Rebellion Studios. And now that Rebellion owns all of those things, it is now the largest independent European development studio. They are now, as a lot of people know, Judge Dredd's Mega City 1, the series, is in development, and it's being produced at Rebellion Developments in their own studios. That's how big this game company has become.
Wow.
You know, that they can publish their own games. They don't need Activision, who they almost were sold out to at one stage.
Wow.
You know, when the big dogs had come sniffing for some money.
There's always bonus.
Because
at least the better games.
As you mentioned, Rebellion made the Sniper Elite games.
That's it.
Which are very, very popular. Especially, they also did the Nazi zombie sniper games.
Yes, that's right. There was very much a
Zombie
Nazi
Army.
The Zombie Army trilogy you can
That's
get
right.
for really cheap, and
Yes,
I got
yeah.
that as well. Yeah. So Rebellion's always done me proud. So when I saw this, I thought, well, yeah, I'll give this a go, and it is very much in their vein, perhaps a bit zanier.
Yes, yes.
But I mean, they just find a killer kind of hook.
Well, they also did Never
And
Dead
stick
in
to it.
2012 with Konami.
Yeah.
Which was, you know, it was a very gory game where obviously you could never die. If you exploded, you had to roll your body parts around like your head, roll over your torso and arms and legs again to attach them again so you could carry on the level. You know, so Rebellion have had their share of wacky, crazy adventures in their games.
They've got a good sense of humour, that's for
A
sure.
good sense of humour, absolutely. And of course, they know they can do gore with the Alien vs Predator franchise. You know, some brutal animations of kill sequences in those games. Of course, people said that those games were, that particular Alien vs Predator was like paper rock scissors combat. How's the combat in this?
Well, it's pretty basic. It's point, aim, and shoot. You can also do a punch or a kick or something like that, just to kind of give you some space.
So in the bottom right corner, you have a gun. Do you have a variety of guns? Are there guns on the levels? Do you upgrade guns? Do you earn XP and level ups? Tell me, Geoff.
You do indeed, yeah. So you rock around with a pistol and a primary, and then there are a bit like zombie.
Call of Duty zombies?
Call of Duty zombies,
Yeah.
COD Blop zombies. You get boxes around, so I'm picking up coins, which will be used to...
Zombie hiding in the barrel.
Absolutely. So, there you go. So I can open this chest here.
Cost you 500 credits.
Yeah,
You're down to 615.
and there's another type of gun. So these are guns which have temporary ammo. You can't get any more ammo for it until you've actually gone and paid another 500 credits.
It's set in the 1930s. I take it there's not going to be high-tech weaponry in these boxes.
No, and to be honest, it's like, you know, it's just kind of like an excuse to have that kind of zany styling and talk like a bit of a cad. So the narrator talks like a bit of a cad, and he's very funny. But yeah, it's just an excuse, you know, like these guys are explorers and they're going through all this like ruins like areas. It's probably more like thought about backwards, to be honest. They've just sort of done this art style and these level designs and then thought, oh, we better do it like 1920s explorers or 30s explorers just to make it make sense. But
So you say it's a 4-player co-op. I take it there's only 4 available characters to choose from?
Yes, or is there 5? I can't remember if there's 4 or 5 actually.
Okay.
We can have a look at how many characters there are. I've only played this guy myself because this guy's got they've all got different abilities. So this guy, when I shoot them in the head, they actually
Causing a bit of
explode and
explosion,
do AoE
splash
damage.
damage.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. So I've only played with this guy. So there's another guy, a black guy, 2 female characters at least, and I think there might be a third one, but I know there's definitely, obviously 4 because it's 4-player co-op.
Yeah.
And I just can't remember if there was a 5th one. I just don't. Then you've got this kind of system where all of them drop souls, Dark Soulsy styley. You come along, open all these chests for loot and for collectibles and things like that, and then every once in a while you'll open one of these chests and it'll have like a rune stone in it. So each of the guns will have up to 4 runestone slots depending on the gun and the quality of it. You go around picking up ammo like this to refill, that's pretty much free. And you have an amulet which will have a special ability which will happen when you press Q or whatever button it is on the controller.
So at the moment you're running around, I'm not seeing any undead, so what's the point? What do you do?
So I've just wiped out all those undead. Now I'm basically facing a puzzle. So I've got to get hold of the scarab thing which will activate this, because currently
An abandoned
and that's okay. So I can activate that when I'm ready to go through. Here we go. There's sort of a puzzle type thing opening up now.
Okay, so there
there we go. So I've got
puzzles
3
in
symbols.
the game other than the shooting.
That's right, yeah. So now that's it. I've got to find the scarab key, so I activate that to get things going.
Now, I believe that there are, like, the water pipe tiles kind of puzzles and sliding tiles sort of puzzles. What other puzzles are there, and how difficult are they? And are they fun? Do they break up the flow of combat?
They do break up the flow of combat. Are they fun? That one's a subjective one. It depends. I mean, if you find this sort of thing fun, as you can see, we've got 3 symbols there. I think they may be represented over here. No, those are different symbols. So to get into there, I would have to find the switches that will enable me to press that sequence that I can see there. So that's like a kind of little memory game.
It's something you could do with a teammate using communications to solve it.
Yeah,
but I hear that the loot in the game is for one person only. When one person picks up the loot chest, that's it. That person gets it.
Yeah, so you got to be kind of like nice to your teammates. And so this one was as basic as it gets. It's shoot those 3 things, and each one activates one of those symbols.
Once they're all activated, door opens.
Exactly, yeah. So on this one is I actually need to find the switches for this. So the part of the secret for this is actually finding.
Right.
Being observant. I've already on this level. There was like a little blue cat.
I saw you shoot that earlier. It was one of 6. Is that one of 6 per level?
Yeah, that's it. So there's like a bunch of
hidden
different
shootable collectibles.
Yeah, that's it. And
so you said there's a campaign. What's the story? Is there really a story?
No, not really. So, I mean, it's just an excuse to have like a silly bit of over-the-top voice acting, and then just kind of like, there's this big baddie monster that you've got to defeat.
Yeah. So I mean, this game came out summer of last year, 2018. How much time have you spent playing it this year or recently? Was it a one and done kind of for a weekend game?
It will be a one and done. I think. Well, it depends how much you get into the horde mode, and I think if you had 4 people who are really into it, who are all eager on getting high scores, you'd be able to get quite a lot of mileage out of this game, and it would be quite good fun. It would be one and done if you're just looking for a casual 4-player something to play through.
Yeah.
With a reasonably decent amount of gunplay and something to think about that's a little bit more than just shooting.
So how many different levels are there? Are they all outside jungle levels like this? How many sort of environments are there?
Well, I haven't been through them all. Well,
that's a good thing.
Yeah, that's it. It's relatively much of a muchness. You're going through sort of ruins. You'll be going through various.
Is it all
set
in Egypt?
Insides of buildings, and I don't think it is. This Egypt?
I think it's a large part of it that I saw was set in Egypt.
Right. Yeah. Well, it could be. It's all sort of set in generic ruins land, yeah.
Right.
Generic ruins land. Sometimes you'll be inside the ruins, sometimes you'll be out in amongst them like this. It could be anywhere, really. It's just sort of
Fantasyland.
Fantasyland, yeah. And like you'll go into caves and tombs and things like that. You know, it's very sort of Tomb Raider-esque. But I mean, it is doffing its cap to all these other games as well. You know, it's very tongue-in-cheek, it's very self-aware.
How's the music and the sound effects?
The sound effects are pretty good for the gunplay, and that is one thing that gives it a nice sort of little edge, some meaty sort of vibes to how things go. The music,
It's fitting and quirky.
yeah, it's meh. You probably won't really notice it much, to be honest. It's more like the cinematics either side of the levels are probably the things you'll pay a bit more attention to. There's a bit of comedy,
A bit of flavour before you start the level.
yeah, that's it, and just sort of like, I don't know, trying to set the scenes of the characters, which are all relatively generic and goofy.
Have you noticed much change when you play co-op with friends or with randoms?
No, I mean, it's such a basic mechanic. It's just a basic mechanic done really well. And you obviously, if you're playing with friends, the puzzles become a little bit easier because you can have one person like helping you look for things.
Yeah.
So having two pairs of eyes is better, and you end up competing with your mates, obviously, to try and get the most points and
To get the most headshots.
yeah, that's it.
Does it
And
track
get
a
the
lot of
best
different
stats.
statistics, or?
Yeah, it does. So at the end of the level, you will have a nice little like layout of all the stats, which will, you know, give you prestige points, kudos points with your mates if you've done particularly well.
Yeah. So what's the main replayability in this for you?
Well, I think really it goes down into the sort of horde modes, really. Once you've done the campaign, it then just becomes about doing all the challenges that they set you. And it becomes much more like a kind of COD Zombies generic shooter style.
Right.
But that works, you know, like it depends. If you've got your mates that are really into that and you have a good crew and you're going like, yeah, I want to get the highest score that we possibly can, then you'll get about as much sort of mileage as you would get out of COD Zombies on this sort of thing. The only thing I would say is that there's not as many options for weapons and things like that in this game.
Is there many other gameplay modes?
There's a few. Should we have a look? Let's have a little look, shall we? Let's go back to the lobby and see what we've got. You can see what I mean, I obviously haven't unlocked any levels myself.
Right.
If I have a look at the inventory, you can have a look. I've still got some guns to unlock. Those little
Empty
blips,
gaps. Yeah.
empty gaps are guns to unlock. There seems to be, on the right hand side of this line, all the guns seem to be significantly more powerful than to the left of it.
Right.
But there you go, you can see you've got various different
The
options.
Chamberlain
You've
automatic
got
rifle.
sidearms, you've
Yeah.
got your
Landmines,
grenades type
yeah.
thing that you can use, and you've got a choice of 4 different amulets, all of which give you a different special ability. You got your pistols,
Your sidearms.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then you got
Let's have a look at the characters.
With the characters, you've got, okay, so there's more than 4 now. I
Yeah.
think they've added more since I was last there, so yeah, that gun is new. So it looks like they keep updating things and keep adding characters as well.
That's what this sort of game is, isn't it? It's something that you can keep adding, you know, DLC to, extra maps, extra characters, extra undead. You know, once the core of the game's built, and it has no real story to speak of. It is an arena zombie shooter with a lot of style.
Yes.
I was just curious to find out, you know, if there is some substance to the game. And,
Yeah.
you know, coming from Rebellion Developments, this is the game that I saw coming and just looked at it and went, no, I'm not going to pay full price on release, which was like £50 to £60.
Yeah.
You know, the game is still at this moment about £40 to £50, and that is just too much for me for a game like this.
Yeah.
So, Geoff, you did buy this game at full price on release. What made you do it?
I'm still making my way through the campaign. For me, it was mostly, it's another 4-player co-op game that I can play with my mates.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Geoff, I didn't get it.
It's all right. I just keep my options open as much as I possibly can. I obviously had a friend who was also interested in playing that.
Yeah.
And I've got, Sniper Elite 4. I mean, the problem is I don't get enough time to play it regularly enough to often finish, and we get distracted and go on to other things as well. So that is one of the things why. But it will sit here, and I will come back to it and eventually finish this campaign, probably with Scott. If anybody else gets it on sale or something in the meantime, I would also be like, yeah, I'll go back. A bit like Killing Floor, all those games, like they're really good fun to pick back up at some point and just have a bit of a bash.
Fun, brain-dead shooters.
Yeah, that's it. And if you get into a little group of people who are really enjoying that gunplay at that moment, and you want to get some high scores, then it's just another avenue to do that and to have something that feels a little bit different and looks pretty and all that.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
It's not doing anything new or anything crazy. It's just trying to do what it does do, nice and cleanly and very well to a high quality. So that's sometimes all you need.
Yeah. So how's the difficulty? How does the health? How hard do zombies hit you? Does it escalate? Does the longer it go on, the more damage they do? Or
they get progressively harder. The AI is a little bit more interesting than that. So you can. Oh, look at this. So this is my first time in Horde mode. Now you must start with a generic
pistol.
And you've got to get money. So yeah, you've got to.
So Horde mode is the more traditional, I guess, the standard Call of Duty Zombies as it's well known
arena shooter style. Yeah, that's it. And the AIs get a little bit more varied and interesting with the various different monster types.
I've seen scorpions and I've seen zombies. What else is there?
Skeletons.
Very good. If you're going to have a dungeon.
Yeah, that's it.
Or
skeletons. With skeletons, obviously with the zombies, headshots do the most damage, but you can kill them with body shots. With skeletons, they have little purple, pinky hearts in the middle of them, and you've got to shoot the heart out of them, otherwise they just reform. And just come straight back. Yeah, so there's always that.
So I see you got a health bar in the bottom left down there. I could take it once you're down, you're out. Can you get picked up by teammates? Do you have health supplies you can take?
So you'll pick up little red potions. That's the way you gain health. If your health bar gone, then obviously you die. I don't think you get picked up. I think you just die. So you have limited lives essentially.
Yeah.
I obviously in Horde mode, I don't know if you get the chance to pick up because I've not done this Horde mode. This is literally the first time I've loaded up Horde mode, and they very much, as far as difficulty goes, generally it's here, try this bigger, harder thing or thing with a new weapon or a new move system or whatever. Okay, you've done that, now try dealing with 5 of them, now try dealing with 10 of them, that sort of thing, so it's very, the mechanics, you've seen it all happen before. And each character is going to be able to have strengths and weaknesses and deal with things in a slightly different way, and if you can combine those abilities together, very often that gives you an edge that you don't get just on your own. So
is there differences between the characters other than their look and sound? Do they have different abilities or weapons?
Yeah, that's it. They all have different the weapons I think are universal, but they all have different abilities which define what they do. There's new characters there since I last loaded up the game as well, so that bodes well. At least the developers are also taking care
continuing
of
to work on it.
It's like I said, it's not offering anything revolutionary, anything crazy new, but it is offering a high quality zombie shooting experience. And
so on that note, would you recommend Strange Brigade?
Yeah. I mean, if this ticks your boxes,
I think with what you've seen now, you'd be well known to make a choice on the game.
Exactly.
But you're having fun playing it.
Yes, that is the point. It is a really well put together game. So just like I really enjoy Killing Floor, because it's although it's so basic, like the game, there's not actually that much game there, but what is there is really well done. So yeah, like I've every time I've got on here to play this, I've enjoyed playing it, and it's quite satisfying. Blapping a few zombies every once in a while in a nice satisfying thud kind of way, you know.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm still on the fence with this game on its price point. I'm like, for a fun zombie shooter game like this, that I would probably wait for it to be half the price again, maybe more. You know, this is the sort of game, even as pretty as it looks and the production values are in there, personally I wouldn't pay more than £10 for this sort of game, because I only reckon I would get maybe 10 hours or so out of a game like that before I don't feel the need to play it anymore, because there's no end game really, there's no point, there's no story to finish. It's just, you know, how far can we get, what's the highest wave we can get to.
Yeah,
and sometimes that's enough, but
I was going to say, it worked for Tetris, didn't it?
It did work for Tetris. Well, I mean, it's down to the gameplay.
Yeah.
You know, and if the gameplay in this works, you know, if you feel rewarded when you get headshots in this game, you know, you'll keep playing a little bit longer. But exactly, I can only imagine that the boredom would come into this game sooner. I mean, I can't speak because I haven't played the game, but from my experience playing those other sorts of games, you know, it depends on how much fun you're having before you do move on.
I'd say probably most people are going to get anywhere from 20 to 40 hours of fun out of this, because it's got a full campaign mode. There's no sleazy microtransactions.
That's interesting.
You get a full campaign mode complete with like entertaining and interesting puzzles which aren't too difficult and therefore frustrating, and you end up spending too long on one area of the level. And there's all the horde modes to play through and have at least set some sort of score on, I suppose. So yeah, I'd say you're probably going to get about 20 to 40 hours of it, depending on how much you're enjoying it and how much you come back to do the horde modes and things. So, you know, in terms of good value, I would say I heap praise on it for that, you know, for not being another sleazy games as a service rubbish. You pay your whatever you pay. If you get it on sale, £20. Pay £40 if you just get it straight away, and you're looking for something to do with your mates anyway. Because you've done everything else. Then you will have fun doing this, definitely.
Excellent.
And it's good value. You're getting everything that you want, and plus more is coming on for your price. So I don't think you will be worried about the value proposition of it.
Very good.
There you go.
Very good.
There's one of the runes.
Nice. Well, on that note, I just want to say thank you very much, Geoff, and thank you everyone for watching. We'll be back next Friday looking at another video game. Of course, new film reviews on Thursdays. First new podcast on the first Saturday of each month. You can find us on Facebook, on Twitter, on Spotify, and on Patreon. Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you next time. Take it easy.